Paper ID 377, Dr. Mohammed Tahri Sqalli. He is a postdoctoral researcher at Hamad bin Khalifa University in Qatar. He obtained his PhD from the same university in the area of human-computer interaction with a focus on medical application and precisely on electrocardiogram interpretation. Prior to that, he worked as a visiting researcher in Meiji University in Japan and in the University of Eastern Finland. Mohammed is originally from Morocco, and he obtained a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and a Master of Science in Software Engineering from AI Akwin University. His speech title is an eye-tracking-based machine learning model towards the prediction of visual expertise for electrocardiogram interpretation. Dr. Mohammed, please.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, please share your screen.
Sure.
Yes, we can see your slide now.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your time and thank you for listening to my talk entitled An Eye Tracking Based Machine Learning Model Towards the Prediction of Visual Expertise for Electrocardiogram Interpretation. So starting from a little bit of background, so actually my paper is about the electrocardiogram, and basically it's a graph, as you can see in this image, that represents the electrical activity of the human heart. So as soon as the heart beats, we receive signals like these, and these signals help in identifying the problems in the heart. So, however, there are a lot of challenges with interpreting the electrocardiograms. I will cite three main ones according to my literature review. So basically, a lot of electrocardiograms are misdiagnosed. In fact, according to some studies, there are 58% of life-threatening ECGs that are missed by medical professionals. And second, it takes a lot of years to become a decent ECG interpreter. According to some estimations, it takes on average 5 years in the hospital to become a decent ECG interpreter. And finally, there is a lack of accessibility of ECG training resources. So our work uses visual expertise, and basically a visual expertise is the ability to look at a medical image and visualize it and verbalize it and understand what's wrong with the patient's problem. And this visual expertise is developed in all aspects of medical images interpretation, including MRIs, as you can see in the image. So this is a general flow chart that describes how visual expertise is done, like the procedures and processes. And as you can see, this is a very, very long and complex process in order to finally give an output or a diagnosis. So our work tries to combine both the strengths and weaknesses of a human interpretation and computer interpretation. While, for example, like the humans can be very exhausted when training many ECGs in the hospital, the computer doesn't get exhausted. That's why it's more the medical field is more and more lenient towards incorporating artificial intelligence in interpreting ECGs without leaving the human in the loop. So this is when my work comes, where we use eye tracking. We use eye tracking in order to collect the data of these medical professionals while they interpret the electrocardiogram, and the aim is to try like a machine learning model to see if the model can have a prediction about how these doctors will behave. So the related works, there aren't many studies that use eye tracking and the machine learning to understand how medical professionals acquire visual expertise. In total, I found four studies, and you can review a brief description of them in the paper. So for the materials and the methods, actually, the study design was composed of 63 participants from 5 categories. And as you can see, these are the cardiology consultants, the cardiology fellows, the nurses, the technicians, and the medical students. And this data was collected through both a medical school where medical students were learning how to interpret ECGs, as well as the national hospital, which is the main Hamad Medical Corporation in Qatar. And the data set was composed of 10 different ECGs of heart abnormalities. And these are the 10 ECGs. Like, these are the most common heart problems in a patient. And these were the ECGs that the data set contained. So the data set used a grid based as well as a long versus short leads area representation, where each ECG was divided into 24 equal areas plus the 25th area. And also it was divided into two main areas, like area 1 and area 2. Area 1 is for the short leads, like these. So each 4 short leads, 1 AVR and V1, each 4 short leads, they compose 1 line, while for the long leads, 1 lead takes the whole 10 seconds. Yeah. And actually, while collecting the eye tracking data of these 63 medical practitioners, we collected a lot of eye tracking data, and these are the parameters that were collected. And we can see that there are some correlations among the features, the eye tracking features, and these were mainly correlations between fixations and gaze data, which is an important measure to accurately know whether the person is given attention or like is focusing on the area, is focusing on the ECG or not. And these were some results of the machine learning model. So basically we fed all of this eye tracking data metrics in order to have an idea whether we can predict the fixation duration for each medical practitioner. And there were some results. We tried different machine learning algorithms, like for example random forest, which gave us 62%, while like SVMs ranged between 67%, 61%, until we got a linear regression, which gave us a result of 94%. Yeah, and these are the details about how this machine learning algorithm worked. And these are the variable coefficients, which variables were really useful into getting this accuracy. And mainly we can see that the revisitations gave an importance indicator about whether we can predict the time spent fixating. And these are like, the second graph shows the predicted time spent fixation versus the time spent fixating. And basically what we can see is that we can see an overlay which is quite similar to the predictions. Yeah. So for the limitation and the future work, so the first limitation is that the data set is very small. So this is like just a proof of concept. It's not, we cannot say that we developed like a very good model. It's just a proof of concept of 63 medical practitioners. And these were the practitioners that I collected during my PhD. The second limitation is that there were 2 ECGs that were disqualified from the data set because they were non-uniform. and they were non-uniform, meaning that they don't follow the same structure as all the other ECGs. So these were disqualified from the experiment. And finally, the assessment which assessed whether the person gave a correct or incorrect interpretation. This assessment was in the form of a multiple choice quiz, and it gave only 30 seconds for the people to look at the ECG, which can sometimes, to be honest, be a very limiting. Sometimes doctors need more than 30 seconds, but just to make sure that the experiment was fair, we gave 30 seconds to everybody. So these are like the future works, or like the future directions of where this work can go, and basically using the machine learning algorithm, we can basically, for example, predict how medical practitioners will interpret these ECGs. We can detect events. We can detect whether the person is given attention or not to the task of ECG interpretation. We can also classify events. We can also classify ECGs. We can also retrieve information and prioritize data. Yeah, so these are the future directions of where this work will go. And thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Dr. Mohammed. Are there any questions for Doctor? Okay, well, thanks, Professor. Thanks, Dr. Mohammed. And we will move on to the next one.